What's data science? What's machine learning? Wait, what's the difference? How can I get a job as a data scientist or a machine learning engineer? Okay, I have here with me today Lakon, and he's going to be answering all your questions about getting started with data science and machine learning. So if you want to get started with machine learning or data science and you have all these questions in your head, you're confused about what communities to join, what resources to use, I promise you, every single one of your questions is going to be answered today. Lakon is currently a data scientist at Mastercard Foundation, and he used to work at KPMG and at Data Science Nigeria as a technical and consulting lead. So he has a lot of experience when it comes to getting started with data science and getting started with machine learning. Join me and let's get started. All right, Lakon, how are you doing? How's it been? It's getting close to 2 years since we last saw, right?
Yeah. Hey Don, it's been a long time, but I've been good. Thank you so much for having me on your webinar. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. How's life been? I heard you've been traveling around the world. How many countries and continents so far?
Around the world. Well, it's been interesting. I think these are for me personally. I feel these are days where one has to just put in the hard work. Working on yourself, working for the community, working for a cause that you believe in, but honestly, it's been a fun-filled season for me. Yes, I've been doing quite a number of traveling here and there, but I'm still in Nigeria, so all of my traveling are still within Nigeria. COVID wouldn't allow for massive international movements just yet, but have been good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. And before Data Science Nigeria, you worked at KPMG, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, I got that right. I have good memory. What was your role at KPMG?
Yeah, at KPMG, I was a data and analytics consultant. At KPMG, so I was working with at that time KPMG's data and analytics practice just started. So I happened to be one of the first set of data scientists that worked with KPMG advisory services there. So that was my work.
Nice.
There. Yeah.
Oh, nice. And we want to talk about machine learning. You're a machine learning expert, data analyst. You've done both. You know what that's like, the consulting part, the building part, and the training people's part, because Data Science Nigeria did a lot of data science and machine learning training, and you were one of the people leading those trainings too. So the training parts, the building part, and everything, you've done all of them. So you're well experienced in this area. And today I want to talk about getting started with machine learning and data science. These two things are sometimes confusing to people. Always ask me, hey, Ebenezer, I want to do data science, but is it also machine learning? I want to do machine learning. Is it also data science? What's the difference? Do I need to be a data scientist to be a machine learning engineer? Do I need to be a machine learning engineer to be a data? So a lot of confusion. And then how do I get started? What language? Is it Python? Is it JavaScript? Is it C++? Is it R? Is it Java? And all that. So you're here to break it to us right now. But before we start, I've mentioned data science and machine learning so far. What's data science? What's this all about right now? And when I first heard of data science too, whenever I hear of data science, the next sentence always came with data science is the next big thing. This is the thing that's going to run the world, run companies and everything. So in 2022 right now, what's data science? And is it still the next big thing, or is it already the big thing now? Which one?
All right. That's a very brilliant question, Don. Well, when we talk about data science, it's really it's just like I always love to make this analogy just before I even define it. It's just like saying life science. It's just like saying biological sciences. When we talk about biological sciences, we talk about techniques and tools for studying biology, as it were, or studying life. When we talk about soil science, we talk about tools and techniques for studying soil, right? And it's the same thing with data science. It's all about the tools and techniques that we use in the study of data, right? It's all about all those processes, the tools. When we talk about tools, for instance, we mean the programming knowledge, right? Data science requires programming. So we talk about the programming knowledge, right? When we talk about techniques, right, these are principles. So we talk about statistics, we talk about mathematics, and all of that. So the combination of all of these tools and techniques, right, in order to unearth and uncover pattern from data is what we call data science. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So it's not just programming, because that's the first thing that comes to people's mind when they have data science. I should start writing code, program. So it's not just programming.
No, it's not just programming. Awesome. Not at all. Yeah.
And then, so that's data science. Is that the same thing with machine learning?
Yeah, very good question. Now, the point is, and I understand when people have that level of confusion, right? But the truth is, data science and machine learning, right, there's a line of difference. When we talk about machine learning, right, what we're talking about is the all of the different approaches to building models. And all of these models are always mathematical, statistical models that can help.
What are models? So
models generally they're like formulas, for lack of a better word, but in layman's language. Just like you have your Pythagoras, they are formulas generally, right? And for instance, you can say something like y equals mx plus c, for instance. Those are formulas, right? Such that when you provide a value to the variables in the formula, it will definitely yield a result, right? So so they are formulas, right, in layman's terms. But if you want to really go technical, we would say that machine learning models generally are the results of training your data on machine learning algorithms. So we have algorithms in machine learning, different algorithms. Now when you bring in your own data, you want to train your data, right? You want to train your model using data and algorithm. Then you have a machine learning model, right? So when we talk about machine learning generally, it's really all about we building those models that can help us make sense of data, that can at the same time help us make predictions on top of data. So it now becomes clear that while data science is tools and techniques for understanding data, machine learning is now all about empowering models, empowering models that can help us, make more sense of data and at the same time make predictions on data, right? So that is the line of difference there. That's a line. So if, for instance, if I call myself a data scientist, interestingly, my current role at Mastercard Foundation, I'm a data scientist. Now, as a data scientist, it is expected of me, right, to help drive intelligence using data, to help decision makers across the enterprise to make, decision using data. But beyond being a data scientist, right, and that's why oftentimes you see that as a data scientist, because you call yourself a subject matter expert in data, you're also expected to be able to do some modeling. So beyond my work as a data scientist, where they say, these are the data we have at the foundation or with our partners, help us uncover insights from it, I can at the same time build machine learning models, right, that can help that can help us in making predictions. So this time around, it is not me, right, as a machine learning engineer, uncovering those patterns from the data. It is now a model that I've trained, right, that is now able to give us those insights, right? And that's where those differences come into place. I'm sure by the time we continue this conversation, some things will become even more clear.
Yeah, that's really nice. Also how they meet, this is data science, this is machine learning, and now we can also use machine learning to help our data science work, right? Makes sense. Okay, so can you think of like current real life use cases? Because right now I've heard algorithms, I've heard models, I've heard what was this, I had formulas, but are there any, if you want to paint a simple picture for us, real life use cases of where machine learning was used?
Yeah, there are a lot of use cases. For instance, and I'm going to speak to them industry by industry. For instance, when we talk about let's say in consumer market, we can talk about churn modeling. Virtually all industries need to even understand churn modeling, because this is a point where we start discussing who is going to leave or who is going to stay, which customer is likely to leave and which customer is likely to stay. Now, when we want to make churn prediction, this is a very powerful use case. One of the things that we look out for is we look at historical data. All right, we bring historical data together, and maybe I will use that situation, this scenario, to paint maybe another line of difference between data science and machine learning while answering your question. Now, when you bring a data scientist on the table and you bring a machine learning engineer to the table, and you give them data of customer records, and you tell them that on this data, I need you, Mr. Data Scientist, you, Miss Machine Learning Engineer, I need the two of you to help us make sense of this data. What Mr. Data Scientist will do is that they will come to the table, look at the data, and then analyze the data, right? Most likely, it will start by doing some form of exploratory data analysis to understand what is the customer pattern that exists in this data. Who are the high-paying customers? Who are the customers that are leaving? All of that. Then most likely the guy would do, because in data science we talk about majorly analytics, so most likely the guy will do some descriptive analysis to help us understand what has happened in data. It will most likely also do some form of diagnostic analysis, right, just to understand more in depth around why are people leaving, right, from a data science perspective. And of course, while the person is doing this, definitely the person will be using some tools, where we have programming language, Python or R, or even do some visualization, maybe Power BI, Tableau, or Google Data Studio. And then by the time the data scientist is done, right, he can present this information to the business to say, I haven't checked the data you gave me. I realize that people are leaving, customers are churning because they are not satisfied, blah, blah, blah. Now, that is the work of the data scientist.
They help us. They bring understanding to the data, insight and understanding to the data.
Exactly. They bring insights. They drive intelligence in the data. Now, you not bring Miss Madam Machine Learning Engineer to the table with the same data. Now, the machine learning engineer comes to the table and say, "Oh, thank you. This is a customer data, right? You want me to, build a model that can predict customers that are likely to churn." So what the person will do is, first of all, as a machine learning engineer, you also want to understand the data. So most likely the guy will also start with some exploratory data analysis to understand, where do we have non-data, where do we have, what do I need to clean? So the person most likely will also do a lot of data cleaning. And as a machine learning engineer, those are some of the things that really take our time, where you have data, you just want to clean it, because your machine learning algorithms would only work with numeric. So you want to make sure that you have good numeric data and all that. And then after,
does the data scientist also do the cleaning, or just the machine learning
Yes,
engineer?
The data scientist actually does the cleaning too, but it's not as much as what a machine learning engineer would do.
So if we have a company has data scientist and machine learning engineer, and they're working together, is the data scientist going to do part of the cleaning and then give the data to the machine learning expert, and he or she will do the remaining cleaning? Or what's that process going to be like?
Thank you. Now, the process is always, oftentimes in a structured environment, right? Anything data cleaning is always done by the data engineer, or what we now call the analytics engineer, where they would have done all the necessary, transformation of the data. They would have most likely, if it's a structured environment, like I said, they will most likely have all of this data sitting in the analytics databases, data platform, and then data scientist just connects, and then machine learning. But if you ask me, really, who does more work with transformation of data or cleaning of data? It's machine learning person, right? So now, using the same scenario, the use case that we're discussing, churn analytics, right? So the machine learning engineer comes to the table, does the data cleaning just to make sure that the data is ready. Then the guy is looking out for the label. What do I mean? More or less like your y-axis, as it were. That is, what is the outcome that we are trying to, model for. So most likely there will be a label that says, oh, this customer left, this customer is still with us, maybe a yes or no. Maybe the name of the column, for instance, is customer left, and then yes means that the customer has churned, no means that the customer still stays. So what the machine learning engineer now does is he now looks at that data and say, now that I have a clean data, all right, the next thing I want to do is to decide on which algorithm would I use. So now there are a lot of algorithms in machine learning, in a machine learning engineer's toolbox. But in the case of churn analytics that we're talking about, right, definitely, because it's a yes or no, right, we are definitely going to be using a classification algorithm, because we are predicting a yes or no, right, a true or false. So under that, most likely the person would say, okay, let me just pick, just for instance, maybe a logistic regression, for instance, logistic regression, and then the person says, oh,
that's one of the what would you classify that logistic regression now?
So that's also one of the algorithms that we that falls under the classification set of algorithms. So maybe during the course, if you have questions around that, I can also speak to some of those things, because there are different areas. These are decisions that machine learning engineers need to make. Is this a supervised or unsupervised challenge? Is this a classification or regression? Now you notice that when I said the logistic regression, you'll be like, oh, I still mentioned the regression, but the reason why it's logistic regression is because at the end of the day, you have two categories, right? It might be a decimal, but it will always fall into either a 0. When it is less than 0.5, it falls into a 0 case. When it is greater than 0.5, it falls into a 1. But because this is not
is zero or a 1 in this case, is that the true or the false?
Thank you. Exactly. Is that the true or false? Now, so as a machine learning engineer, so once you decide, then what you now do is you now make machine learning processes, right, by training your model. Remember, like I said the other time, what we call model in this case now is where data meets algorithm. So I've decided that I want to use a logistic regression, right? So when I take logistic regression, which is just some mathematical formula that I always advise guys who are starting out not to really bother much about understanding these mathematics. But if you really want to go far, then you need to understand the mathematics behind most of these algorithms, right? So the moment I pick what I want to use, then the guy trains the model, and then at the end of the day, the outcome of the machine learning engineer will now be a model that can predict, right, the possibility or the likelihood of a customer churning or not. So you can say, oh, this customer with ID 123, based on the features that we have observed, our machine learning model says that this person has a 0.7 likelihood of churning. When a new customer comes into the database, because the model has been trained using this set of features, the same model can tell us that, oh, this new customer that is coming, right, we need to observe this person because this person is also likely to churn or stay. So you can see the line of difference. So a data scientist, analysis of the data, give us insights, but machine learning engineer is now that guy that builds that model that can then help the data even learn on its own. And that's how they differ. So we have those use cases: churn management, fraud detection, and all that.
Now, if I want to get started with data science or machine learning, in like right now, I want to get started. Or before I even ask that question, how about you? How did you get started? Did you study this in the university? Did you get a data science degree? And how did you get started generally? How did you learn data science?
Don, that's a very interesting question. A lot of people ask me, how did you get started? Where did you start from? But the honest truth is, I did not even realize I was on a path to becoming a data scientist until 2017. That was just about 6 years ago. Before then, in 2012, I'd started, the journey. I learned SPSS then in 2012, and it was self-taught. I learned it on YouTube. And I had the opportunity in 2013 to join a research group where we were analyzing data for, BSc, masters, and PhD researchers on campus. Then, doing analysis for them. Then at some point, I also had opportunities of doing analysis for some manufacturing industry in Ogun State. When was that? That was in 2015. That was a major project for me. Did a kind of behavioral analysis, for casual workers, in Ogun State, and it was quite interesting. So at that time, it was just me doing those things. Like I knew that, I love data, I love numbers, I knew that I always love to communicate insight. So I was just doing those things, learning them until 2017. 2017, somebody told me about data science, and for the first time, that was the first time I heard the word data science. 2017. Data science, what's that? Then I decided to go look it up, and wow, I was like, man, then I'm cut for this, because I've been in
that's what I'm already doing.
Exactly. So I just had to then pick up some tools, master, some programming languages and all that, and here I am. So for me, I think getting started, and if I'm going to advise anybody, which I think I've been doing, is if you want to start on the journey of learning data and analytics, the best time to start is now. And how do you start? First of all, get a learning resource and commit to it. Done. There are a lot of information on the internet that a lot of people get it mixed up. I tell people, if I want to learn, and I tell you, I'm a testimony of this, because when I, in 2016, towards the end of 2016, 2017, I was with a software, engineering company in Lekki here in Lagos, and I got interested in. Then I was working as a business analyst, so I got interested in, software engineering, and then I decided to say, okay, I'm going to learn Java. So I started learning Java. I learned Java for like a month, and then I felt, this Java is not, I'm not getting what I needed.
I know where this is going.
And then one of the engineers was like, oh boy, go and learn PHP. I started learning PHP again, and then I literally was learning, but not seeing any results, because there were a lot of information on the internet. So I advise people, guys, if you want to learn data science, please just pick one track. For instance,
but where do we get these resources from? Let's say, where do I get these resources that I can commit to? Because there are just too many.
There are a lot of resources. So for instance, I advise people, if you want to make some financial commitments, a place like Udemy, a place like Data Camp. Interestingly, I'm wearing a Data Camp shirt. A place like Data Camp is a very good platform. Interestingly, I started learning real data science with Data Camp. I tell you, it's very, very good. Okay. But some people might not like the model of Data Camp. Some people might not. But Udemy is very good. Coursera, there are a lot of them. But the point here is, just pick a course. For instance, on Udemy, there are some courses like Data Science Bootcamp. On Coursera, there are courses like Data Science for Beginners. So there are different courses like that all you have to do is pick one and stay to it. Don't be bothered about, there's another one on YouTube. No. And if you want to go open source, go on YouTube. Simply Learn, Free Code Academy, all these guys, they release a lot of resources. Pick one and then study it. Start from beginning to the end. I tell people that when you're learning any course online, the juicy part of that course is always at the end. But if you did not finish that course, there's no way you will know that, oh, there's this part of this course that's at the end. So stay to it, pick a course and go for it. Then that's one way. The other way, which is highly recommended, is to also join communities. And maybe in the course of our conversation, I can speak to some communities, but maybe very quickly I can mention this, that I believe in the Data Scientist Network Foundation's community, Data Science Nigeria's community. Now, of course, Data Science Nigeria,
to be clear, Data Science Nigeria is same as the Data Scientist Network Foundation.
Yes, Data Science Nigeria is the same. Yeah. So Data Science Nigeria is the same as the Data Scientist Network Foundation, right? Data Science Nigeria is not just in Nigeria, as at the last time I checked, Data Science Nigeria has membership in over 50 countries, over 50 countries. So
that's nice.
Yeah, so it's not just in Nigeria, but these are communities, because there's this common saying that says that culture eats strategy for breakfast. Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So what that means is that if you have a strategy for learning, you are like, oh yes, I have a course on Udemy, I have a course on Coursera, but you have a strategy. But if you do not have a culture, right, if you do not belong to a community of people that see learning as normal, what happens at the end of the day is that you realize that your strategy will not work. Because I tell you for free, at a point in time, you will feel like, I'm not interested anymore. But when you see another friend that is going far with it, you'll be like, we started together, so I need to learn with this guy. So that's why it's very important to belong to a community, and before you know it, you'll be there.
Nice. If I want to join this, like the Data Scientist Network Foundation community, like what do I do? How do I join these communities that are out there?
Yes, so I can speak for Data Science Network Foundation because I'm a member, and I have been through the process. I definitely was working with DSN as a full-time staff before, so I understand the process and I know the rigor that goes into all the things that DSN does. It's a lot of rigor, highly structured. So to join, I think it's just to visit their website, or even just a Google search of how to join Data Science Nigeria community. It's always the top rank. Always.
It's like any question we have these days, right there on Google.
Honestly,
I want to join Data Science. How do I join? And I see the answer there.
Honestly, it's always there.
Okay, so if we make that search, we're going to see like a link.
It's always the first. Yes, it's always the first. AI community membership, always the first.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you talked about paying for courses on Udemy, Coursera, or even edX. What's your opinion? What free versus paid resources? Should I go for just free resources, or when do I go for paid resources, or like which one should I choose if I see a free resource and I see a paid resource?
Yeah, Don, thanks for that question. My recommendation, in all honesty, is when you're starting out with learning, start with the free resources. Get a book, for instance. There are a lot of free books online. Go on YouTube. There's a lot of information on YouTube. Now, it's when you take the free resource that you realize that, oh wow, this is something that I am interested in. And then from there, so the purpose of oftentimes when you're just starting out, the purpose of a free resource really is to even do a kind of audit, on this resource to know, am I going to be able to learn this thing or not? Right? So when you do that audit and you are convinced, right, then if you desire, because a lot of people will say, oh, YouTube will not give me certificates. If I read a book, I won't get a certificate. A lot of people still have that certificate mindset, but it's still fine. So if you want a certificate, then you should now start considering making some financial commitment on edX, on Udemy, Coursera, Udacity, Data Camp and all that. But like I said, the most important thing is once you start a course, please try and finish it. Don't
Finish
jump
it.
from one end to the other. I almost became a wounded software engineer, because at that time I was literally hopping all around. It was at a point where, in 2018, while I was still on the job, that I was given a challenge that I needed to build some things, right, with the software engineer, that I was like, oh, I really now need to learn this thing and learn how to really build this thing, so so that's just it.
And you mentioned this how some people have the certificate mindset. So I can't learn on YouTube because YouTube is not going to give me certificate. How do those certificates impact getting a job as a data scientist or machine learning expert? What are the interviews like? Are they going to tell you, oh, show me all your certificates so that I can start seeing what you learn? Or is it like, or are they going to ask you for your models or the data you've analyzed and all that? What's it like a data science or machine learning interview?
Done. That's a very, very interesting question. I love the fact that you asked that question, because it's one of the frequently asked questions. What's the importance of certificate when it comes to getting a job as a data and analytics person? The truth is, certificates do not count. Let's just put it that way.
Interesting.
They don't count. But a lot of people don't know. A lot of people just think, when you have Microsoft certified data scientist, Atiba certified data engineer, blah blah blah, I'll get a job. When it comes to getting a job, certificates do not count. You can quote me anywhere. I tell you.
Yeah.
What counts?
I'm going to quote you.
But when you're quoting me, now had this. What counts is hands-on experience.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Your project portfolio. What have you done? So you have taken a course, right, on Coursera. You've taken the certificate. The question is, can you show us what you did with the knowledge you learned? That's what counts. I've seen it. In fact, I've had privilege of interviewing people, before while I was with Data Scientist Network.
Yeah.
One of the service of Data Scientist Network is also to help, organizations recruit data scientists. So I had opportunities of really sitting on interview panels, and I realized that a lot of people that had this certificate, especially, Microsoft's data scientists, Mastercard, most of these guys, oh my God. Not to say that, not to rule out the certificate outrightly, but most of these guys don't even have any project to show. They don't, because what they do is they just read, go into the exam, website, and they just click, and that's it. So when it comes to getting a job, everyone needs to understand that what really counts is hands-on experience. What have you done? Show us your portfolio. Tell me about the project you've done before. Don't tell me about the certificates you have. Who cares? So
that makes sense. And this is the same thing with the software engineering world too. A lot of people think that they can go and pack as many certificates as they want, and then when they go into the interview, maybe the interviewers are going to look at a certificate and say, oh, you have all this, okay, the job is yours. But at the end of the day, that's not really the case. It's what have you built, what can you do, and all that. So if you want to get a certificate,
let me give you. Sorry to cut you short. Let me give you a very good case in point. When I joined KPMG in Nigeria, one thing happened. I'd done the interview, the partner stage and all that, and I was waiting. Now, one day I was just thinking, really, I always love to have some moments of reflection, and then I got this knowing in my heart that why not send a link to a project that you have done to the recruiter?
Okay.
Guess what I did? Done. At that time, I just completed a deep learning course with DataCamp, and then DataCamp also gave us some projects. So I did a project, a real world project, right? And then I sent the link to the certificate and the project to the recruiter. I just said, this was a technical recruiter. I just told him that, I'm just checking in, and then to also mention that I'm currently fine-tuning my skills, and please see the link to my certificate, and the link to a project that I just completed. Done. The following week, I got the offer to join KPMG Nigeria.
Nice.
So these things work, but a lot of people don't. Most likely, when people look
they don't want to put in
the
work. I think people don't want to put in the work because that step further you go. Even if you take a course, and then even if you build anything while in the course, but what do you do after that course is complete? Do you take that project further? Do you build something new with the knowledge you have? That's the most important thing.
That's it.
This has been really great. I don't know. I think I have to even start charging people for interviews. Like if you want to watch this interview and get all this knowledge, maybe give us like $1 million, because this is $1 million information. this is like the cheat codes. Yeah, the cheat codes to get to your job as a data scientist or a machine learning engineer. You have to get something done. I think we've covered almost all the questions I had for you. Okay, yeah. How long? When at the point you realized that it's data science I wanted to, you started consciously learning data science stuff and all that. How long did it take you to get your first job?
Okay, so I would say that in my own case, at that time they were not. I mean, the information I'm sharing right now were not available to me, so I was doing a lot of trial and error. But the only thing that was constant for me was that I was committing about 3 hours every day, every weekday, right? Because weekends oftentimes can be, but every weekday. So what I did then was, because I was with a software company, so we had a crash pad, right? So oftentimes, once we are done with work, we can pass the night in the office, guest house and all that. So immediately we are done with 5 o'clock, I just save like 3 hours for myself. Thank God I don't have to travel in traffic and all that. So as I get into the guest house or the crash pad, what I just do is I continue my course. So literally on the average, I was committing about 3 hours every day, every work week, every work day. Of course, there are weekends that I had to also make sure to learn. If I'm unable to wrap up, I try to. And then what happened was that it was rubbing up on my work. I was now, the go-to person when it comes to, especially when it comes to building dashboards for clients. I was the go-to person, right? And then, like that, before I knew it, I had I had the opportunity to take in a full-fledged role with KPMG Nigeria as a data scientist, and that was it for me. So nice. Give and take, I would say that with consistency, right? Consistency and also making sure you have something to show with consistency and all of that, within 3 months, really, for any serious person who is willing to make a difference and willing to put in the work, done within 3 to 4 months, you can get a job. And interestingly, I have people like that.
That sounds very new to me. It sounds very interesting. 3 to 4 months.
Yeah, you can.
That's cool. I'm gonna have to, because I've seen a lot of people who've started and then it's taken them much longer time. Is it a full-time job? You just start learning data science and in 3 to 4 months you have your full-time data science role?
No, it doesn't work that way.
Or is it after you learn data science then 3 to 4 months, or when you start learning data science in 3 to 4 months? Which one?
The honest truth is, when you're learning, right, especially in this field of data science, tech generally, one of the things that you also need to make sure to do is, as you're learning, as you have already established, you're also, communicating what you're learning. That's why I advise people, when you're learning, if you like writing, write a blog, put something on social media, on LinkedIn especially, tag the people that you feel are influencers. That you feel like these people, if they know that I'm already learning this, they might be interested, right? Tag those people, make sure that it's not just about, within these 3 months, I'll just be learning, and then after 3 months, I expect a miracle to happen. No, it doesn't work that way. So you start learning, but make sure that as you're learning, you also put out some stuff, In fact, as you are learning, the true test of knowledge really is about ability to communicate that same to another person. So as you're learning, you can also adopt a small group of friends and share with them, and then make friends. make friends. The reason why I gave that estimate of 3 to 4 months is that I have about 5 examples of people that I have at one point in at a point in time I've had the opportunity of actually communicating and counseling them, and then it worked for them. As we were learning, they were sharing, they were reaching out because again, connection is very important. So when I say connection, it means that what is the wealth of your network? Who are the people that even know you? Who are the people that you know that you are a data scientist, that know that you are learning data science, such that if there's an internship position in the organization, they know who to call to. Just recently, an organization reached out to me, one of the big 4 in the world reached out, that they needed data scientists that have just about 2 years of experience, right? So as a person, if I'm going to recommend people, it's the people that I know, right? The people that are at one point in time, I've seen what they've done, and I was able to recommend just about a few people, right? So that's the way it works. When you're learning, make sure you have a time, maybe your weekends, you can reach out to people, ask for help. People say, I did not know I love to help people until people started reaching out to me, and I see it as a great privilege, right, to be able to share with people. So I tell you, yes, people are busy, but when you reach out to them, like you reaching out, not just, I get a lot of hello, hi, and honestly that I don't respond to. Hello, hi, how are you?
How was your day? How
I don't respond to
night?
most of them. But when you're reaching out, you are deliberate. Just write everything you need. Hi, my name is this. I'm learning this. I'll be happy if I can have I can send you the link to some of my project and you can help me review it. Those are the people I want to hear. Or I'll be happy you can just give me a minute of your time to guide me, and then I can share resources with you. Reach out. It's not just about learning. Reach out. Yeah.
And not just one person. I always tell people, you're reaching out to people. Don't just focus on one person and say, this person did not respond to me. I'm giving up. So you reach out to as many people as possible, and at least one person is going to respond.
Yeah, very, very true. So let me give you an interesting gist. So recently, not recent, maybe sometime around September last year, I reached out to one of the top influencers in artificial intelligence that I wanted him to coach me. And then when I was reaching out, I sent my message as though I was sending a proposal. By the time this guy responded, I could literally feel the emotions in his message, right? And then this guy gave me access to his premium courses. That just take this, feel free to get back to me, reach out to me, if there are opportunities, and it's just the way. Reach out. If there's anything that I would really emphasize on this in this conversation, is that when you're learning anything, please reach out. Don't just, this is not a university or polytechnic education where you are just reading the book and all that. No, as you're learning, you have to be proactive. Be proactive. Thank you. You're proactive. That's it.
Nice. Makes sense. Okay, I think we're almost done. I've even learned a lot myself. Maybe I should even transition into data science.
Why not?
So,
it's a big field.
So quick one, learning data science. What are some projects I can build? You talked about building projects, showing people the projects you built, because that's what we really wanted to see and look at or know. So what are some projects I can build while learning?
Yeah, a lot of projects. The number one stop shop for projects in data science is cargo.com.
Cargo.com, okay.
K-A-W-G-L-E.
Okay, I'm going to add that link to the description.
Yes.
K-A-W-G-L-E. Oh, okay, cargo. Okay, yeah.
And there's also Zindi. There's another one called Zindi.
Okay.
Zindi is more African, and Zindi is doing excellently well. Zindi.com. Those two sites,
okay.
The reason why they are always highly recommended is that they have a lot of competitions. They have a lot of, remember we talked about community the other time. So imagine seeing yourself on a leaderboard, how you are faring on a leaderboard. You are motivated to say, oh, let me put in some more work, right? So they have a lot of learning. They even have a lot of learning resources, data sets that you can use, and all that. I can remember there was a time that I wanted to build a proof of concept, right? In one of my roles, I won't mention which of them, but I wanted to build a proof of concept for a client, a big client. But these guys, they did not have the data we needed. So what did we do? We went on Cargo, get a sample data, and then we built the proof of concept. And so the point is, these sites hold a lot of data that you can use, to build your portfolio, to get your hands dirty. So
okay, awesome. This has been really, really great. This has been really, really great. So we've talked about, or you've explained the difference in data science, machine learning, the need to know what a work day is like for machine learning engineers or data scientists, how to get good at data science, how to learn, and it's just a wealth of information. Thank you so much for coming. Is there any last question? Python versus JavaScript. This one is hot, so this one should take like 1 minute to answer. Python versus JavaScript for data science or machine learning, because right now data science JavaScript looks like it wants to start doing everything. You talk about mobile dev, programming, like building software, web development. Now data science and machine learning, JavaScript is like. So if as someone who wants to start, which language do you personally? I know that you can say you're free to use any language, but which one do you personally recommend? Is it Python? Is it JavaScript? Is it R?
Honestly, when it comes to data science, machine learning, best bet right now is Python. Python. Okay. And the reason is very simple. There's a huge community of users for Python programming, right? So it's always highly recommended. Then of course, R programming is also massive. Interestingly, maybe I should also disclose, one of my learning goals for this year is to master R programming. It's one of my learning goals for this year. So hopefully by mid-year, I should be able to, turn out some interesting work that I've done with R. Maybe I can also inspire somebody, as somebody who doesn't know anything in R. If I commit some time to it, maybe I'll be able to also, maybe I can have this conversation with you again. I can share on how I learned R programming.
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah.
So R programming is actually fantastic also, especially when you're looking at the statistics, core statistics part of data science and machine learning. Then R is also very good. But Python is easy to learn. Okay. So awesome. Jump on it.
Awesome.
You'll be able to
also, that makes sense. So you've heard from him. Python recommended because large community, work. A lot of work has already been done there. When you're starting, go for the one with the biggest community, the one that you can get help from easily and all that. So that makes a lot of sense. Thank you very much for joining me in this conversation. I'm very happy that we did this, and I'd love to have you here again. Maybe we'll talk about how you learned Arrow. That'll be interesting. But this has been really great. Thank you, Lekon.
Thank you very much, Don. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button on this video and then the subscribe button. And if you got any more questions, go ahead and ask them in the comment section below. And tell me what you think about this conversation. Did you learn anything? I'm sure you did. Alright, see you in my next video. Bye.